Today, I'm gonna give you 10 steps you need to take if you wanna generate 5 or 6 figures in your video business this year. Each and every one of these steps has had a direct correlation on the success of my video business over the past couple of years, so I wanted to share them with you. In the next 15 seconds, I'm gonna share a little bit of my background, my filmmaking career, so that I'm actually credible enough for you to want to listen to these 10 steps today. I'm 25 years old now, but I picked up my first video camera at age 12. Between then and now, I've made probably over 1,000 videos, a lot of which for free to master the craft or to build my portfolio. In the beginning, I lacked the confidence and the skills to charge my worth, but now I'm making over 6 figures per year as essentially a freelancer making videos for businesses. Step number 1, you just have to stop treating filmmaking like a hobby. I could talk about this one step for an entire video, but for now, I'm just gonna give you the summary. So in a hobby, time doesn't really matter. That's kind of the whole point. You're using it as an escape, just something for fun. You're not aiming to make money or generate revenue with your hobby. In business, I'm sure you've heard the term that time is money. So basically what I mean by this step number 1, treating filmmaking more like a business and less like a hobby, is you need to audit the things that you're spending your time on and figure out what of those things are generating the most amount of revenue and then focus on those things. It comes down to the 80-20 rule. Generally, 20% of your activities are generating 80% of your revenue. So you need to identify that 20% of things that you're doing that is going to generate the most revenue for you and focus on those. On the other hand, you need to figure out the things where you're wasting time and you either need to eliminate them or you need to outsource them. For me, a good example of this is editing. While I do edit a lot of my videos, I do edit all my YouTube videos, but for my paid corporate work, I don't edit that many of them anymore because it is so time consuming. I've hired an editor to do that so that I can focus on the areas that are driving 80% of my revenue, which are sales, finding new clients, developing processes, working on the business instead of in the business. Step number 2, know your why. While owning a business is extremely rewarding, there just will be days where you want to quit. If you don't have a deep sense of purpose within your business, you don't understand your why, it's going to be much easier to give up. Knowing your why is going to help you make difficult decisions like how you're going to make money within your business. Are you going to create commercials for brands, social media content for them, or is your time better spent trying to build up an audience and make content for YouTube and monetize your business that way? Without knowing why you're doing what you're doing, what fuels you as a creator, those decisions and those choices are going to be hard to make. At this point in the video, I urge you to go download my free guide called Fear to Freedom, how to unlock a 6-figure video business. It essentially has elements of what I'm talking about in this video, but it goes into a little bit more detail if you're extra motivated about making this happen. Visit connorricky.com/fear to freedom or click the link down below. I'm going to drop it in the description for you to download. It's super easy. All you got to do is pop in your email and your name. Step 3, reverse engineer. And this applies to multiple areas of your business. Number 1, it applies to the money areas of your business, your revenue goals. What I like to do is set my yearly revenue goal, the money that I know I want to make in the next 12 months. Then I break that down into 4 different quarters. And then from there, I know what I need to make every single month to hit my quarterly revenue goal. It makes my big year-long goal seem a lot easier, a lot more achievable when I can break it down that way. I apologize about the changing light. It's a cloudy day and the sun keeps coming through and reflecting off the wall next to me, the building next to me, and it's just making this lighting all wonky. I'm trying to do this natural light thing today, but so far it's been a little crazy. Bear with me on that. The second area you can reverse engineer are your clients, the type of work you want to do. Figure out what kind of projects you want to be working on. Take a step back and think about your ideal client. Then once you know that, you can go out and create a piece of content for free that might attract those kind of clients. Create that, send that to 10, 20, 100, heck, 1,000 clients, and eventually one of them will bite and actually become one of your clients. And now, boom, just like that, you have attracted your ideal client through reverse engineering. You can use reverse engineering in many other areas of your business, but these two are huge. Step number 4, get used to, get good at, get comfortable with setting expectations. You want to do this with yourself, but then also with your clients. Before any project starts, before signing an agreement, putting money down, receiving money, take a minute to step back and make sure that both parties are very, very clear on what it is that you're going to be delivering and what it is that your client is going to be giving you. To give you just a couple examples, while you're talking about maybe pricing out a project for a client, someone comes to you and says, here's what I want, how much is this going to cost? You want to be very thorough in going through with them and defining how many days you're going to be shooting. How many hours, well, maybe not how many hours, but how long are you going to be editing for? How many revisions are they going to get once you've delivered that video? When are you going to get paid at the end of the project when you deliver the video? Is it when you give them the first draft, or is it when you give them the final revisions? Run your client through your entire process from start to finish, from scripting to delivery before the project even begins, so that they understand how you work. These are only a few examples, but setting expectations can make or break your business. You'll be able to avoid so many problems in the future if you deal with them before they happen. I mentioned setting expectations with yourself personally, and what I meant by that is to understand, and this is just an example, how much time you're going to spend on a project before it begins. Are you going to spend 10 hours editing the project, or are you going to let it drag on weeks? That way, you know how much time you can allocate towards your business versus maybe taking time off, hanging out with the girlfriend, the wife, doing other things outside of your business. If you don't set those expectations for yourself up front, have those goals, then you're just going to end up working 24/7. You're going to burn out. Your relationships might crumble. Totally not speaking from experience here, kind of. But it's super important to set expectations with yourself and with your client. Step number 5, surround yourself with winners. I'm sure you've heard the phrase that you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, probably from your mom, and you didn't like hearing it, but I'm here to tell you that it is so true. And in fact, I think it's more like the top 3 people you hang out with the most. The proximity principle is real. If there's someone you want to be like, someone that's doing what you want to be doing, best case scenario, go work for them, go intern for them. But if you can't physically get near them, follow them digitally, listen to their podcast. And on the other hand, unfollow people that aren't really providing any value in your life. People that you might be scrolling by on social media that just give you anxiety or just make you mad for no reason. It's going to be so much easier to be successful in your business and make 5 or 6 figures making videos if you surround yourself with winners, with people who are much, much higher than you are, people where you want to be in the next year or the next few years. Step number 6, ditch the ego. This one sounds pretty harsh, but just so we're all on the same page from the get-go, let me quickly define ego, and that is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. You will be successful in business by providing a tremendous amount of value to a customer. This one's especially difficult for us creators because, speaking for myself at least, we often create an emotional attachment to our work once we've created it. Creating videos as a hobby and creating videos as a business are 2 very different things, and you need to be able to understand that and kind of emotionally disconnect from them, because it's about the customer. It's not about you. While yes, you're being hired to give your creative input, to do what you do best, you're the professional. At the end of the day, the client is giving you money for something that's going to make them more money. You have to be very open to feedback when making money with anything creative, or else it will just ruin you. You will be so upset, so depressed, you'll get angry with your clients, and that is not the mindset we want to be in at all whatsoever. I'm not saying completely emotionally disconnect from all of your creative work. I'm just saying it might be a good idea to do that with the work that you are being paid for. If I'm feeling uninspired, I'll just go and create a passion project, something purely for me that I can get emotionally attached to, that I can pour my heart into. All I'm saying is just to be careful when doing that if you're being paid by a client to create a video for them. All right, on to step number 7. We're getting there. We're close to number 10, but pay attention because this step, in my opinion, is probably the most important out of all steps we're going to talk about today, and that is to create a process. Now, I'm sure you already have a process, but unless you have deliberately taken the time to step back and define that process, I can almost guarantee you if someone asked you how you work from start to finish, it'd be tough to articulate that in a clear and concise way. Having a solid process has basically been the determining factor of landing the highest clients that we have to this date. And I know that because they've literally told me that they felt like we understood what we were doing from start to finish more than other companies that were bidding projects. And the reason why that's important to them is A, because it makes you seem professional, like you know what you're doing, but B, it saves them time. These businesses and these people working in these businesses are busy and they want to know that you can take control on a project and they're not going to have to micromanage. In the early days of running my business, I would kind of just go with the flow. I would just do kind of whatever came up next. I wasn't really planning ahead. I did not really have a process. Now I can sit down with a client and confidently tell them every single step, list out every single step that we're going to do from the very first touch point with a new client all the way to way after delivering a video project. I'm telling you guys, having a super solid process is a huge differentiator between you and competition that not that many people talk about. It's so important. After you're done watching this video, take a step back, look at every single piece you do from start to finish of a project and lay out your process. Step number 8, use a contract. ... If you're working with brands. Of course, if you're choosing the route to create a personal brand and make money that way, like on YouTube or selling digital products, you don't really need a contract. This point might not be as relevant, but for the rest of us working with brands, this is so important. Just to make them sound a little bit lighter, I don't call my contracts, I call them production agreements. I don't know, it's worked well for me. But not only are contracts legally binding, ensuring that both you and your client are delivering as promised, as agreed upon, but they also serve a few other benefits. First, they define the scope of work before the project even begins. This ties back in with what we were talking about earlier regarding setting expectations. It outlines every piece of the project, every element of the project, every little thing that could happen, that could go wrong, that needs to go right before even engaging in business. They also make you seem more legit, just more professional. A lot of freelancers, a lot of creatives just won't use a contract, and it's a pretty easy way to differentiate yourself from the competition. In fact, when you start working with bigger budgets like $5,000, $10,000 plus, the client is going to expect a production agreement or a contract. It's just one more thing that again shows your client that you have a solid process. So how do you create a contract or a production agreement? I would highly suggest to not just create one yourself. Also, don't go online and just rip one off and use that. I would spend the money to hire a local lawyer or an attorney to sit down with you and draft one up. It'll probably cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,000, but if you're in this to make 6 figures, that money is going to be very well spent. Step number 9, read books. You don't have to read a ton of books. In fact, I'll link my favorite ones down below in the description if you're interested in checking out what I like to read. But continuously furthering your education and learning every day is going to, of course, drive you to make more money. You can save a lot of time, a lot of pain, a lot of struggles by learning from those who have already walked the path that you're trying to walk, that have already made the mistakes that you might be able to avoid making by learning from them. Up until a few years ago, I absolutely hated reading, but I think it was just because I was reading things that didn't really apply to my business, to my own personal life. I hated reading in high school, in college, all these books that were irrelevant to me. But once you start reading things that are actually going to make you better as a person and make you more money, you might start to enjoy it. And number 10, enjoy the process. If you are not enjoying the process of running a video production company, of running a creative agency, then you're going to burn out pretty quickly. Now, like I mentioned earlier, yes, there are always going to be hard days that make you want to quit. But if your why is rooted deep enough and you're enjoying the process, the highs, then you will keep at it. Life is short. I really believe you shouldn't be doing something that you just absolutely hate. There are so many avenues you can take nowadays, so many opportunities and things you can pursue. So if you're just not enjoying it, don't keep doing it. I was going to wrap this video up, but one more step popped in my mind that's super important that I did not want to miss. And it's actually because I just had this conversation with a client, but that is to ask for a budget. If you've ever worked for a client, you've ever made money with your services, someone calls you up or they talk to you and they say, this is what I want. How much is it going to cost? And then you instantly kind of freak out because you have no idea. You want to charge a ton, but then you also feel bad charging a ton and you don't really know what they want to pay for it, how much money that they have. So it's kind of this guessing game. And then you give them a price out of the blue, completely random, that they weren't expecting. It was way too high. They get upset, or you underbid and they say yes way too quickly and you know you could have charged more. Let's ditch that. By asking your client what their budget is, you just saved yourself and them a ton of time, because now we can see if you guys are in the similar price range and you're going to be the right fit to each other so quick, instead of going through a whole proposal process, sending them an estimate just to find out that you're priced way too high or way too low for them. I know it can feel a little bit awkward, a little bit uncomfortable to ask this question, but after you do it a few times, I promise you'll start to feel better about it, because you'll see that your client is just going to tell you what their rough budget is. I literally just got off a call with a client. I was about to quote them somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 for a project, but before doing that, I asked them if they had a budget set aside for it, and they said they were looking to spend no more than $30,000 on the project. So by asking this one question, I potentially just made 6 times more revenue than I would have if I just threw my budget out there. If you're still here, that means you are extra motivated to make this happen. So again, I encourage you to visit connorricky.com/fear to freedom, or click the link down below to grab that PDF that is going to guide you through the steps to create 6-figure revenue within your video business this year.